Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today it's going to be a best of 5 for our Sunday series here between Trap and Reynor, starting on Golden Wall, a very fun map. Bottom left-hand corner we have the red Zerg player Reynor. He's Italian, he is terrifying, and is 18 years old. And in the bottom right we have the blue Protoss player. It is Trap, who is not 18. He's like 20-something, but still a younger player, a great player. He beat... Well, took a game off of Cyril in, let's see, what was the previous thing from DreamHack? Katowice, I want to say. And Trap is mining out his backdoor here on Golden Wall, which gives you access to this backdoor, but again, you have to mine this one out to get access to the main hatchery of your opponent. And Reynor, as usual for Zerg, is not worker scouting. Maybe the Overlord can see it fast enough, but I doubt it. All right, so I think this is going to be like a proxy Stargate with Void Rays. I don't know, man. This is going to be kind of nuts. All right, so Trap is just taking this natural down here and being like, what up? How's it going? We're going to go ahead and expand it down this way. Your Overlord is going to come up and see there's not an expansion in the normal location, but again, it's Golden Wall. That's kind of normal and kind of insane at the same time. Probe heading over to see what is what. I mean, Reynor's doing the very standard 16, 18, 17. He has no concept of shenanigans whatsoever. It would be nice to have some kind of vision on this back door, though, and just see exactly what's going on if something shows up over here. Pile on here for Trap. What's he going to do? Definitely Cyber Core, definitely Second Gas, but I mean, the timings are all the same for a one-gate expand. It's just the expand is in a weird place, and whatever the second layer of tech is going to be weird, too. So the Overlord comes in and says, okay, so you're chrono boosting an Adept. He doesn't actually know about this. He doesn't actually know that there's not a Nexus there. He just sees a regular Adept timing. It could be a Stalker. He's not sure, so he's going to back out with the Overlord just so he can escape if he needs to. But over here, it is going to be a Stargate. So we're just going to proxy Oracle, is my assumption at this stage of the game. This should be good. Lings are checking for proxies. Also, escorting this drone up to get a third base. At about 240, timing there works pretty nicely. Reynor playing this like it's really standard, but it is definitely a proxy Oracle timing, which means his spores are probably going to be a little bit late, and just a little bit late versus an Oracle is brutal. It's always brutal. We've seen Cyril lose upwards of 10, 12 drones because his spores were like 10, 12 seconds late due to a proxy, I think from stats a few months ago. But here we go. This has to be an Oracle. All right, so Oracle's name is Eye in the Sky. That actually, I mean, that's like... I want to say most cities that have a helicopter as part of their news organization, it's called their Eye in the Sky. In Salt Lake City, that's what KSL, a local radio station, called it for a long time. I don't know if they still do that. But again, I haven't listened to local radio in a long time, so who knows. Anyway, the Adepts come in. They're, hey, we're going to finish our transfer. Let's do that. Maybe try to kill a couple of these drones, and there we go. One drone goes down. You're going to worry about these these Adepts more than the Oracle that's swinging around here. And watch, the Adepts are going to shade out. And here comes the Oracle, and the Spore is on the way, but guess what? It's not anywhere near done. So we're going to go ahead and take down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drones. Queen's heading up this way to try to be like, why is this Oracle here? This Oracle is way too soon for this. So Spores do pop, and 6 drones go down early on in this build. There's another Oracle on the way. The Lings are cruising across the map. They're like, okay, the natural base has to be fairly exposed, doesn't it? And the answer is no, it does not, because it's not right here. It is incredibly well protected from Zerglings. And I guess the Overlord sees this anyway. So the Lings are going to try to get through this wall, but with an Adept warping in and the extra wall here from the pylon, I don't know if these Lings really want to engage, and in fact, they don't. So, all right, Gateway, Robotics Facility, Twilight coming in from Trap. Are we going to Adept Printer this is the question. This is the semifinals of DreamHack 2020. And that was held just, about a month ago here. Double Oracles trying to sneak on in, see what they can get done. But 2 Queens and a Spore is what you need versus 2 Oracles. And there you go. Reynor is perfectly protected there. So I just got back from vacation. I'm actually casting this on August the 15th. I got back on vacation. We went to it's Pine View Reservoir. If you're from Utah, you probably know where that is. It was nice, although unfortunately, the day before we left, I stepped on a rake in my backyard as that Oracle goes down to Spores, but 6 more drones go down. I mean, we're looking at a total here of 12 drones killed in the first 5 minutes, which is generally a death sentence, but for somebody like Reynor, it's really not. Reynor does not care about losing this many drones. He can replace them very nicely. So, I got a puncture wound in the bottom of my left foot, which made walking really painful. So I was fairly useless at the vacation, unfortunately. I couldn't get in the water at all because obviously I had a hole in my foot. And it was a relaxing vacation, but I wouldn't consider it a super fun vacation just because I was in a bunch of pain. And yeah, it was great. I did get a tetanus shot, for those who are wondering. I did get a tetanus shot the next morning because I was like, I don't remember where my last tetanus shot was. So I just got that taken care of, and I should be good for another 10 years on that. Anywho, Oracle harass with the Archons, trying to do some stuff here, and against Lings, really good. What's bad is Roaches. Roaches are really, really good against these Archons, but I do not see any on the way because the Roach Warren is still in production. We've got Immortals on the way here too. I love this opening out of Trap a lot. He's not going crazy into Sky Toss or anything, but those double Oracles definitely slowed Reynor down a bit. Reynor's still at 57 to 46 total workers, which is super duper annoying if you're the Protoss, but hey, I mean, that is the nature of Zerg. He got that third base up early, and as a result, he has a ton of larvae to play with and to drone up as necessary. So a bit of a push here. We've got ourselves an Immortal, some Sentries. If there aren't any Ravagers against this could be tricky. I love mining this out. Just giving him an avenue up here. He doesn't have to go all the way around to his front door to get out to the front. You know what I mean? Archon's trying to get stuff done, not accomplishing a whole ton here. But 13 Lings have gone down, 2 Adepts have died, and one of the Oracles here. This is an amazingly strong push suddenly. Army supplies 57 to 26. Oh, this is bad. Reynor somehow finds himself in a tough position of dealing with an Immortal Sentry Zealot play, and that's your good game, Trap! I was going to say without any Ravagers, which you kind of need in this situation. Let's back this up just a little bit. I just want to look at this position because, like, it was just too much droning is what it was. 70 workers to 46 probes right here, and it's not like a ton of probes died. 0 probes died. This is a Trap getting up to 45 workers going for a 2-base push, and Reynor was not ready for it. He was too economy heavy. Yeah, I mean, at this stage of the game, he has 9 Zerglings. There are 5 Roaches in production, but they have to turn themselves into Ravagers to really deal with this particular Sentry Immortal Archon style composition, it feels like, especially for the Corrosive Biles. And yeah, the Queens aren't going to hang with these Zealots very well. The Lings are going to be pretty much useless in this situation. And Trap, just start to finish, really, really elegant game plan. The Proxy Stargate to start us off killed about 12 of the workers. Reynor replaced them, maybe over-replaced them. There was no third base at 7 minutes for Trap, which Reynor, I think, was aware of. He kept running Lings up there to see if there was a third base or not. He never saw one, but still went up to 70 workers. That was too many. He was late on his Roach Warren, he was late on his Ravagers, and he had nothing to deal with this 57 to 28 army supply difference. So, fantastic. I mean, yeah, Reynor, right? Here comes the harassment, and then it goes down, and Reynor's like, yeah, I'm feeling great. But that's when you're vulnerable as a Zerg player, is when that's happening. So, really, really fantastic game 1. Let's move into game number 2 here. Should be a lot of fun. Stick with it. We'll be right back. We're here on Submarine for reasons that I don't understand, because this map is usually vetoed along with Golden Wall, but they're games 1 and 2 of this series. Maybe Trap and Reynor like them. All right, so top left here is Trap. And in the bottom right, it is Reynor. All right, so a little bit of a probe scout here. Doesn't take nearly as long on this map because, again, the rush distance is very short. And I kind of feel like Reynor cannot go for the 16 hatch here because the probe is already almost here. Let's see what he does here. Sends it out a little bit earlier than he would, but hey, there's a probe already here. And he's like, never mind. It's Submarine. It's super easy for probes to block your expansion, your natural expansion. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the third and just call it good. Ta-da! There it is. So anyway, if you're asking, my foot feels much better now. I mean, it was this process of healing while I was on vacation. Every day felt a little bit better. I was taking, Tylenol, putting antiseptics on the wound, keeping it covered, and washing it a couple times a day, just making sure it didn't get infected, and it feels much better now. It's still not 100% back, but it's better than it was 4 days ago for sure. Anywho, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you haven't already on this channel. I post a ton of StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 numbers are going down, everyone. I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe it is because my Brood War numbers are great and we can't do great numbers on both. Maybe it's because there's a lot more StarCraft 2 out there available for you guys, rather than Brood War, where I seem to be one of the few channels doing anything these days with that game, which is unfortunate. But it means the Brood War fans know where to get new content. That's my channel. Regardless, if you're here and you're like, man, Falcon still casts StarCraft 2. I had no idea. Look, I cast new StarCraft 2 posts every single week. Okay, we're talking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Hang on. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday are StarCraft 2 days on the channel. So if you're not seeing StarCraft 2 stuff, it's because YouTube isn't showing it to you for some reason. But hit that subscribe button. Now go to your subscriptions and you'll see StarCraft stuff from me most every single day of the week. Is anything crazy happening here? The answer is no, not at all. We are just Overlord scouting around, worried about a Stalker coming out, but it's just an Adept. So the Overlord has to get back to his perch, but is not crazy worried about getting shot in the face anymore, so it disappears. Oh no, he's not disappeared. He thinks he's disappeared maybe, but he's not. Probe harass into an Adept harass. And if you're struggling Protoss against Zerg these days, just make sure you're harassing. I know. We've been talking about this since the days of Wings of Liberty, but if you're just letting the Zerg player sit back for the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, they will get a huge army up. A huge economy up first, and then make a huge army, and then crush your face. And you won't be able to do much about it. But if you force them to spend early larva on things like Zerglings and early resources on things like Queens, instead of using that on just drones and drones and drones, you'll have a better time of it. See, look, these Lings, Reynor doesn't want to make these Lings, but he has to because Trap's harassing him with these Adepts. And in fact, going to kill maybe a couple of these drones. Oh man, look at this. Look at this harassment here. This is really great stuff. I gotta say, man, another drone goes down. Reynor's just a little bit careless with these drones. Did not get them out there in time. He wanted to bring them back to work, but couldn't because the Adepts hadn't transferred out when he thought they were going to, I guess. I don't know what that was. That was really crazy. Twilight Council opening from Trap. This might be an Adept Printer Goes Burr style of a build, but yeah, we got drones down. 4 drones down, not the 12 we saw in game number 1, but the night is young yet. There's your resonating glaives. Are we actually even going to go for, yeah, I was going to say a robo. Definitely getting a robo here and a warp prism. So the Zerglings are like, okay, all right. So we see what's up here. The Lings are just trying to keep the Adepts at home, I feel like. But no, they're not interested in going home. Not by any stretch. They're going to hold the line here. The next round of Adepts is going to show up here and chase those Lings out. The Adepts are going to show up. The Queens are going to fight. And there's the canceled. There's the canceled transfer. You don't want to be in there when there are 2 or 3 or 4 Queens waiting for you. It's hard for you to kill them. And they can't kill you very fast either, but they do damage. Queen ground damage is not fantastic, but it's enough with some Ling support, especially to handle the Adepts. But once a Resonating Glaives is done, though, that's when things get a little bit dicey. This is just a regular walk across the map deal because, again, it's Submarine. Because you can do this on Submarine. Here come the Adept. That's so many Lings, man. I mean, this isn't... Generally, I do like to see Roaches or Banelings in response to this, but, like, Lings and Queens... recently I've seen do really well in this scenario. Like that, man. Several Adepts go down. But Resonating Glaives is done. They're burning through the Lings. They 2-shot them anyway, but when you shoot faster, you kill them faster. Warp Prism is being built. Not Chrono Boost out, but it is definitely being built here. Queens staying alive. Adepts shaded and they finished into the natural base. All right, how many of these drones are going to go down? You're going to focus those out for the most part. Kill as many Lings as you can. This is actually interesting. It's 2 separate groups of Adepts. He's not actually just sending them all to a single place. Shading into the main base here too. Several drones. 11 drones have gone down. But again, this is a bit of a 2-base, kind of an all-in. Not really. There are some transitions out of it if you're trapped, but... you really want to try to get more damage done to Reynor than I think Trap has done thus far. I really don't see this being enough. 12 drones down is a great number of drones. And again, it's what he did in the first game, was 12 kills in the first 5 minutes, and he was able to kind of sneak up on Reynor from that point on, as Reynor tried to replace his workers, and he over-replaced them. We'll see if that happens in game number 2 here. Yeah, in general, I gotta say that Reynor is just ranked higher than Trap. Reynor is an incredibly terrifying Zerg player, despite how young he is, and despite the fact that he's not Korean. So for Trap to take game number 1, I think is officially an upset, which is kind of nuts to say, but definitely the truth. Third base coming up here from Trap. Reynor doesn't have a fourth. He's making more lings. Dude. Reynor might, again, be over-responding to this as Trap takes the third, unlike what he did in game number 1. This is a bit of a mind game scenario where Reynor's like, okay, so last time he just showed up with a big attack on 45 workers and didn't even take a third base and crushed me. I got to get my Rotorn out early. I got to make some safety Zerglings. I don't have any Banelings. And I know the Adepts are still out there, so it's got to be Zerglings. And again, these could all be drones. These could all be drones. It's 35 drones for Reynor at 7 minutes, which is horrendously low. That is so many Zerglings, though. All right, so you know what? Oh, my gosh, he's got Disruptors out. Dude, Trap. Dude, Trap, though. Oh, my gosh. So he tries to kill some of the Zerglings and some of the Queens. Doesn't go super well for him. Some of the Adepts do manage to escape back to the third base. But Reynor held off that attack. It wasn't exactly maybe what he's expecting. He's like, Disruptors? What? He hasn't seen Disruptors in some time. But now we have Disruptors and Warp Prisms to worry about. Oh, goodness gracious. Going to go in here into the main base. Again, Zerg players traditionally not great against Disruptors, unlike Terrans. Did he just lose one there? Or did he lose one earlier? Either way, yeah, he's not getting a lot done with them. Because again, Zergs aren't great at it, but the most elite Zergs are fine. They're totally fine against Disruptors. Most of the units are pretty fast. And especially if the Roaches have speed, and the Lings especially have fantastic splitting ability because they're so zippy. And they can surround the Disruptors and murder them while they're sitting there vulnerable, trying to get that Purification Nova off. This is just a lot of Lings, man. I like what Reynor's doing here. I really do. See, look, the Roaches... Okay, never mind. 2 of them went down. But again, Roaches without speed. Roaches without speed are not as great against Disruptors as they want to be. Colossus in production here out of Trap. Interesting choice. Against this Ling Roachy style, I would support it for sure, especially if they can get Extended Thermal Lance and some upgrades. Regular base Colossus without any upgrades are not my favorite thing, but you know what? This is what we're engaging with. He's got one Colossus hallucinating a Phoenix for scouting around, trying to see if there's anything coming from the backside, and by golly, there is. So you protect the Colossus, and it'll burn up infinite number of Lings for you effectively. Actually, I'm playing through the StarCraft 2 Brutal campaign out on twitch.tv/Falcon Paladin right now, if you want to see me do that. And today, actually, like starting at like 3 p.m. Eastern time. Check that action out. But yeah, there's a mission with Zeratul where you're trying to find, you know, the pieces of the prophecy if you've ever played the campaign through. It's a lot of fun. But there's a mission where they first give you Colossus. And anytime there's a mission where they're like, hey, here's this unit, it's new, you really just need to make pretty much that unit and you'll win. That's how they design the levels. Because, yeah, I made, I want to say 12 or 14 Colossus and a bunch of Stalkers and just blah. And it's the Wings of Liberty version of the Colossus, so they're insanely good against Zerg. That poor Zerg AI, even on Brutal, just had no shot of anything. Could not handle those Colossus with any amount of just efficiency whatsoever. Extended Thermal Lance on the way. More Colossus coming in. What's the answer going to be to these Colossus for Reynor? Lings aren't going to cut it. They're just, the more Colossus there are, the more range they have. It's not going to happen. I don't know that I like Roach Ravager against Colossus either all that much. Banelings, yes. Banelings are fantastic, actually, against Protoss in general, which is why they're looking at nerfing them in a little bit. But again, nerfing them can turn ZVZ into kind of a weird situation or be problematic in ZVT. It's really tough. It's a tough job the Balance team has. And in general, I think they do a pretty good job. I mean, the GSLs, right? GSL is the highest level of StarCraft consistently throughout the year. And GSL Season 1 was a TVT final. And GSL Season 2 was a ZVP final with no patches in between. Right? They talked about doing some patches, but they didn't actually do anything. So, I mean, if Terran, Zerg, and Protoss are all represented in the GSL Season 1 and Season 2 finals of 2020, that's got to be part of your goals, right? As a Balance team, is to be like, okay, are all 3 races represented in GSL finals? And if the answer is yes, I don't know what else you can do. I mean, I guess you would want to see all 3 races win a GSL in a calendar year, but it might be too much to ask. I don't know, man. It's rough. Really is. This is it. The Blink Stalker Colossus play that I did in my campaign playthrough the other day. This is nuts. So the banelings waddle on in, try to get some of these sentries. They get 1 or 2 of them. The push is real scary all of a sudden from Trap. 4 Colossus. The banelings do not have centrifugal hooks. They're trying to get connections on everything. And yes, they're getting some really nice connections throughout the army, really thinning out the front ranks here. The Immortal sitting back here is up to 11 kills. I guess yeah, Immortals really complement this well too. I usually mute there. Sorry about that. Army supply 61 to 56. Trap has an advantage. And again, anytime you have an advantage in army supply against a Zerg player, you're going to have a good time. Because Zerg needs more army supply than you have pretty significantly to have some kind of an advantage there. It's just how it is. Their units are faster and squishier and more mobile. Dude, is Trap going to 2-0 this best of 3? Started off with a 2-0 that Reynor's got to dig out of? Oh my gosh, he didn't even run these drones out when the attack started coming in. What is happening right now? All right, trying to hold at the top of the ramp. The banelings are sneaking around on the backside. I see you, banelings. I see you over there. Crikey, mate. All right, Stalkers in the front. Army supply is still significant for Trap right now. Colossus have not died today. 30 kills on that Colossus. The banelings are trying to get big hits on these Stalkers, which is surprisingly pretty good against the Stalkers here as they're getting wiped out, but blinking forward on top of the Ravagers, trying to burn them down with the Stalkers. Really nice control right now out of Trap. There are, I mean, just so many kills combined on these Colossus right now. Blinking on top of the Ravagers again, and that's your good game. Trap ends up taking a 2-0 lead in this series against the younger, just more highly ranked Reynor. What a turnaround. I bet when you clicked on this, you were not like, oh yeah, Trap will take an easy 2-0 lead in the series and we'll go from there. No, you didn't think that. I didn't think that. This is absolutely bonkers how well Trap is playing right now. Look at that spike on income advantage. I guess part of that was when he was harassing with the Adepts, right? And then it goes down, and then Reynor takes the advantage. He doesn't go nuts with his economy, though. He gets up to 66 workers at 12 minutes instead of 70 earlier on. Continually making army there, but at the end of the day, he didn't have anything for the Colossus. No Colossus died in this game. 0. Which, I want to see how many kills they get by the end here. I mean, really nice. Wiping out the Stalkers with those banelings. I'm not sure it's cost efficient, but it's really good. And then another blink on top. Yeah, anytime Stalkers are blinking on top of an army, that's usually a GG signal, and there it is. So look, 21 kills, 32 kills, 26 kills. Do these both have 26 kills? No, 26 kills. How many are there here? Just the 4. 26 and 17 kills. I mean, that is absolutely insane production out of those Colossus. They're very expensive, but that's why you make them. Ravagers couldn't hold. There were no Corruptors, no Vipers to deal with these Colossus at all, just trying to go Roach Ravager Baneling. Never really set up that 360 surround either that you like to see. Banelings did try to get some hits off. I love the Corrosive Biles coming in on the camera here. Look at that. That's Corrosive Bile falling from the sky. I love it. Immortal down here with 13 total kills. I mean, just some incredibly impressive display here out of Trap. Resources lost 17,000 to 12,000 in favor of Trap there. And that's a 2-0 lead. That is what a 2-0 lead looks like against one of the more terrifying Zerg players and players overall in StarCraft right now. Trap is on fuego. On fuego. All right. So that's it for game 2. Again, this is a best of 5. So if Trap gets to 3 wins, he wins this whole thing. So let's see if he can do it. We'll be right back with game number 3 just a second. Ice and Chrome. Bottom left Trap, top right Reynor. This is usually the side of macro games, but I've cast a couple of games recently on this map that are not macro games. So hey, not entirely sure what to expect here. Just a quick plug for the Falcon Paladin Hour. If you listen to podcasts or search Falcon Paladin in your podcast app, you will find me talking to Samacron and Aussie. Sometimes we have special guests, but we always talk about nerdy stuff like video games, TV shows, musics, anime, StarCraft 2. We bet on GSL. and other fun stuff like that. Again, the Falcon Paladin hour. Okay, so what are we doing here in this game? Has Reynor done anything other than 16, 18, 17? No, he has not. And actually, look at the timing here. That rush distance, you know, that probe I don't think left super duper early. Did have time to throw down the pylon and then went, but blocks it up. Reynor's down here for the third base anyway, so not a huge deal. But annoying nevertheless. I know Reynor has a little bit of annoyance in his heart. Or maybe he has studied the ways of Zen. Perhaps he understands how to not allow things that annoy him. And he has nothing but peace and focus and serenity going on in his brain and soul right now. Although that's really hard to do when you're down 2-0 in a best of 5. Like, coming back from this situation is basically a reverse sweep scenario, which is so hard to do. Especially against an elite player like Trap, especially in the semifinals of a crazy ESL tournament like DreamHack. Holy smokes, this is going to be rough stuff out of Reynor. Can he do it? Can he survive? Or will Trap put the hammer down? And 3-0 Reynor, which again, who saw this as a possible outcome? I'm going to go with not many people. Not many people did. Including not me. If this is a 3-0, I'm going to just fall off of my house in sadness. Fall off of my house. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm back from vacation. I need to get back into the casting swing of things. Let's focus, Falcon Paladin. Let's go. All right, so where are we currently? Well, currently, nothing crazy is happening whatsoever. Trap has just got a cybernetics core. He is going to throw up his second tier tech in any second now. As soon as he has enough minerals to do something, because he doesn't yet. And there we go. All right, there's your choice. And the choice is probably going to be, I'm going to guess, Twilight? No, Stargate. All right, Stargate for the 250 minerals. Okie dokie. Artichoke. Going to open Stargate here. Not any kind of a proxy shenanigan, but that should be just fine. Overlord says, you haven't really made a stalker early. I'm going to sit here and do some scouting, because you haven't made a stalker early yet. But you know what that means? It's time for a stalker. I think the probe scouted this. Did the probe scout this? It did scout it. Okay, so it's not a 2-base craziness out of Reynor right now, which is excellent, excellent information to be aware of. Overlord checking stuff out. The Stalker not being Chrono Boost, but it will get here in its own due time and start shooting at that Overlord as it tries desperately to get to this high ground perch, which every Protoss player hates with a passion.
I'm here in the shadows.
Because watch. You're like, all right, Overlord is here. He can see everything we're doing. Oh, he didn't even bother. Look at him. He's like, hey, come over and shoot me, you dummy. And boop. Entirely disappeared. Hilarious. Great party trick. Everyone hates it but Zerg players. It is an Oracle. Oracle up and on the way, and the Oracle's name is Marbles. This Protoss loved playing with marbles so much she turned into one. A giant, floating, glowy, zappy marble. And thus the Oracle concept was born. Alright, marble. Reminds me of marble in the oatmeal. Yeah, name that movie, Marble in the Oatmeal, and I'll give you a heart on your comment, which, I mean, let's be honest, the odds of getting a heart on your comment are pretty high these days. Because again, I read every comment anyone ever makes on any of my videos at any time. So I'll give you a thumbs up if I feel like it, I'll give you a heart if I feel like it. 5 drones down because there wasn't a spore over here at 3.5 minutes, Reynor. Loses 5 drones because he didn't want to lose a single drone to make a spore. That is a problem. Dude, these lings, though. I see you, lings. You are many. You are trying to catch a third base that is really naked and exposed and easily murdered, but nope. Ooh, the shield battery protecting this. I love that. Protecting that stalker is great. Evolution chamber coming in from Reynor. The oracles come around to the main base where there is a queen, but not really in position to do much. And again, we're just consistently getting 10 drones down in the first 5 minutes today against Reynor. This is really nice from Trap. This is not easy to do, I'm going to mind you. If you've ever tried this, if you've ever played PvZ, and you're like, I was going to make a couple oracles and kill a bunch of drones, it's hard to do. It takes a lot of control, and especially against somebody like Reynor, this is not consistently what we see happen to him. So, Trap's just on his game today. I don't know what else to tell you. What's he doing? Gateway, gateway, gateway. Twilight Council. He has a forge. Can't imagine that's for a cannon. Yeah, he's just going to start +1 here at about 5.5 minutes, which seems early, but we're working on +1 melee Reynor too. So perhaps it's not. Roach Warren at about 5.5 minutes. Pretty standard timing here. Again, he knows about the third base, so he knows it's not a 2-base timing like we saw in game number 1. So So these guys have a pretty good read on what the other player is up to. I don't think Trap's hiding anything at this point. I guess just a bunch of gateways. And it's going to be Blink. Okay, so that's the trick here. Is it's going to be Blink instead of Resonating Glaives. Maybe as an attempt just to kind of throw Reynor off his momentum here. Or off balance. I don't think that he has much momentum. Unfortunately. Fourth base on the way from Reynor. Recognizing the presence of the third base is a really, really nice thing to do. Some Ravagers in production should be enough to hold this thing off, although the fourth base may be in a bit of peril here. This is a lot of damage output, especially with the Stalkers. That they could do plus damage versus armored is always very nice. This forward pylon, is he slow warping in stuff like a madman? He must be. There's nothing touching that pylon. Amazing. Ling's trying to see if the front door is wide open. The Zealot holding the line like a boss. Ling's getting chased away. Roach Ravager. So both players have pretty decent mid-game armies here at about 7 minutes. Corrosibiles are worth being worried about, but I don't know. It's so rare to see Corosibiles straight up win a match versus Protoss. It's more of a zoning ability here, unless the Protoss is dumb enough to go Immortal Sentry in 2020, surround his Immortals with force fields, and then they can't move, so the Corosibiles kill them all. That is a possibility. We have seen that, but not recently. The meta has completely shifted on that ever since the Ravager came to play. But against Protoss, that's about as effective as they get, is honestly Immortal Sentry, which is something that we just haven't seen, unless you want to count game number 1 as Immortal Sentry, which it kind of was, but not really. Again, the meta shifts and changes all of the times. Got a Robotics Bay coming on in here. Is that going to be more Colossus like in the last game? Is it going to be possibly Disruptors like we saw in the last game as well? Porque no los dos? That's what I always say. 24 Lings in production. Worker count is favoring Reynor. 85 to 70 right now. He's had a nice jump over the last couple of minutes, according to that income tab. Oh, the Free Immortal. Free Immortal. Oh, jeez. Free Immortal is bad. Yeah, you'll sacrifice every one of these Lings to get this Immortal. Oh, the Force Field's not enough. Really nice Force Fields, though. Almost enough to save the Immortal, but sacrificing about 10 Zergling, 12 Lings for that Immortal is definitely worth it in the end. Oracle's trying to pick off some of these Ravagers as they go home. With a good micro, you can burn them down pretty quick. The transfuses on the other end, keeping him alive, though. It is going to be Colossus. Colossus out of the Robo. Now that that first Immortal came out and died. Was it the only Immortal? Yeah, he makes one Immortal, and he gets completely wrecked instantly. Rough stuff. Stalkers can't handle, or they can handle that many Lings. Centrifugal Hooks is finishing up right now. We got a pretty scary Roach Ravager Baneling attack coming up that ramp, but it does get scouted early. Immediately throws down a sentry, or a stasis ward. Stasis trap. No, it is ward. But it's a trap as well. Army supply, 86 to 8. This is, again, about even army supply, like we saw in game number 2 with this very, very similar situation. It was Stalkers, it was Colossus, it was Banelings, it was Ravagers, but it's a bigger army this time for Reynor, and there's only 2 Colossus instead of 4 this time. The Banelings think about it. They do force some force fields out, which get broken by the Colossus walking over them. Stasis catches a couple of those Banes. And Reynor decides he doesn't want to fully engage here anymore, which I can't necessarily blame him for. It's really tough to engage into this kind of a Stalker Colossus Death Ball with Roach Ravager Baneling. He took out a bunch of Stalkers, which is very nice. It is going to be a Spire on the way. He's like, look, if you're going to keep making Colossus, I think Corruptors would be amazing. I really feel like Vipers would be good. I mean, way back when they introduced Vipers, right? Back in Heart of the Swarm, one of the very first things they showed was, hey, now you can abduct Colossus out of Death Balls and bring them into your Roach Hydra army and kill them. And it was a godsend. We just don't see it a lot. I guess the threat of it is what really keeps Protoss from making many Colossus in the first place. But now 9 Corruptors in production. So a very Wings of Liberty-esque approach to these Corruptors, or to the Colossus, is going to be Corruptors here. Oh, trying to get us surrounded. You can't really surround it because it can walk over you. Jeez. That Colossus is down to no HP. Baneling's getting some decent hits back there on those Stalkers, though. Both players just making sure there are a few parting shots in the middle of the map here. 60 Lings in production from Reynor, though. He's got his 4th base rolling right now, but you know what? Trap has his 4th base up and pushing 2. Now, the force fields are really worth their weight in gold right now. Is there enough to get on top of this army? The Corruptors are taking down the Colossus, at the very least zoning them back. That Colossus is gone, and suddenly a ton of the DPS for Trap is out. The Banelings are rolling on top of these. Oh, the sentries, though. Oh, the sentries. Oh, can they get out? One of them might escape, but the Banelings are faster, even off creep Banelings. Oh, gosh. Sentries down. What a crushing right there. Army supplies 82 to 40. A lot of those are Zerglings, and there are no Colossus, though. I love the Zergling flood in this situation. Usually it's panic Zerglings when you make that many Lings, but you know what? Reynor, no. Not for Reynor. Stasis catches a couple Banelings and a Zergling there. Raynor's going to let all of his Lings join the party here. Corruptors on the right side trying to make sure that making any more Colossus is a really terrible idea. At the very as well, they're going to try to go ahead and corrosive spray down this Nexus, which I'm not sure that they can do, just because of the cannons present and the shield batteries and whatnot. So Reynor got a 5th base coming on up. The Banelings came out of stasis there and got completely wiped out. Income is favoring Reynor pretty heavily, about at 900 minerals per minute, or 900 total resources per minute, depending on how you want to look at that. Disruptor's on the way. All right, so Disruptor, the comeback mechanic. Can they get some big hits on these Banelings and Lings and Ravagers? They will one-shot all of these units if they can get hits. But again, they're all pretty zippy. Here comes the Disruptor hit. If you can catch these Banelings, why is it not shooting? I don't know, but so many probes are dying right now. Oh, the Banelings are just like, we're going to kill. Ah, 21 probes down. Oh, no. There's 51 workers for Trap right now. That entire base just got wiped out economically. The Nexus is still there, but there are no probes to mine from it. Ooh, DT is actually canceling a hatch at the 12 o'clock position. Reynor trying to get more ahead by expanding, but unfortunately it does not work out for him in the end. DTs, there's a window, DTs. There is an Overseer. Never mind. No window. I thought we were making one, and we are. But DT's not able to get much done after canceling that 5th base, which was a huge freaking deal. Disruptors in production here from Trap. Again, no Colossus anymore. It's just a Stalker Death Ball. Stalkers only with an Immortal in the middle of it. This is not going to be good versus Ling Ravager Baneling at all. Not even the teeniest or tiniest of bits. Dude, he's in trouble. Trap is in trouble right now. Baneling's kind of getting caught out. But the sentries, the sentry deaths today have been painful. Have been so bad. 15 sentries have died today. Of the 16,000 resources Trap has lost, a lot of that is sentries. They are very gas heavy. The Colossus were big time ticket items there too. Reynor decides to double expand. Sure, why not at this stage? Going for a Greater Spire, going for Adrenal Glands. He's like, all right, I can't kill Trap right now. I don't know about Greater Spire when there's so many Stalkers out. I really don't. Oh, this is chaos. Just blinking on top of the Ravagers. Crucibile's getting hits. Disruptor doesn't do anything. Trap a little bit sloppy there, not engaging with any of the Zerg units whatsoever. He has to bring all the Lings back home. This Trap is suddenly threatening to go up 3-0 in the series. The Lings are trying to get us around the force fields, not allowing it. DT's in the mix trying to get hits off. Oh, Warp Prism focused down the Corruptors. MVPs of this match so far for Reynor for sure. Oh, Immortal caught out. Disruptor hit his big time, but the Immortal goes down regardless because the Warp Prism is gone and can't be saved. The Disruptor is getting surrounded. Banelings, no, getting taken down. Disruptor hit big, but Disruptor gone. Army supply 77 to 25. I don't see it, Trap. I don't see you coming back, man. He's trying to make a Colossus, but right now his army consists of 7 Zealots, 4 Stalkers, and a DT. And Reynor can smell it. That DT is now completely dead. He is producing 1 million more Zerglings. He's producing 7 Broodlords, which I'm not entirely sure are necessary right now, but it's a better use for the Corruptors than just being Corruptors right now if you're trying to put the hammer down on somebody. Yeah, man, these are going to finish. These Stalkers are going to be like, wait, hold on, what? There are 7 Broodlords out and I have 4 Stalkers? That's not good math at all. Yeah, so here we go. The sieging potential of the Broodlords are real. And that's your good game. Reynor does force a game number 4. Does not go home. 3-0 here at DreamHack, which would be absolutely brutal at the end of the day. My goodness. My goodness gracious. That was a really, really fun game. Number 3 there. Reynor ends up taking it on top. His income is largely just dominant through the last 10 minutes of the game after Trap lost. How many total probes? 26 probes. Entirely a base full of probes in that one attack. All 3 Colossus died. The Corruptors were a decent answer there. And yeah, the Broodlords were the hammer to put down on a Trap there to force the game 4. Reynor's going to try to win a game 4 and then get to a game 5. Can he make it? I don't know. Stick with it. We will find out one way or another. But don't go anywhere. This has been Falcon Paladin with Reynor and Trap from DreamHack 2020. Everdream. Bottom left, Reynor. Top right, Trap. Hey, did you know you can support me on patreon.com/FalconPaladin for as little as $1 a month, and it supports different currencies now. Had somebody ask me how to support me in British pounds, and I had no idea, but then the next day they announced that they support British pounds. So hey, go ahead, patreon.com/FalconPaladin if you want to support me monetarily. It'll give you access to 1 extra StarCraft 2 cast a month. 1 month early before it shows up here on YouTube. 16, 18, 17. And this is a pretty darn short rush distance as well, which leads to a slow push of queens sometimes from Zerg players in this matchup. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what Reynor does here. I kind of feel like he hasn't been very aggressive, right? Has he killed a Nexus in this? I don't think so. I think the closest he's got is killing that entire probe line in game number 3 with extra banelings. I don't think Trap took very seriously, unfortunately. And he was able to lose a ton of those workers, but I don't think he's actually taken down a Nexus today. Not even a single one, which is really kind of a hard thing to beat Protoss if you're not killing any of their bases whatsoever. I mean, that said, they're very good at defending their bases. They know how to set things like shield batteries to protect defensive units, maybe even a couple cannons against things like Corruptors. Make it hard for Zerg to really get in there and get their claws around a Nexus and kill it. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see if Reynor gets his Nexus kill count up from 0 to 1 in the series, which again, not a great start, honestly. Starting out 2-0 is always terrible, but at least he didn't get 3-0'd, which would be incredibly embarrassing for him. Although, I don't know, man. Like, these are the best players on Earth, right? Trap is someone who's done well in GSL. He's obviously here in the semifinals of Katowice. So, like, there's no real question about, is Trap a great Protoss player? Losing to him should not be a problem. But again, there's just a question of who is favored. And in this situation, it is definitely Reynor. Look at the Stalker first out of Trap. I love it. He's been going Adept. So the Overlord feels really safe to poke around and check the Nexus timings. Maybe look for the second tier of tech, which is actually up here and is actually a Twilight Council this time. But now this Overlord is dead. The extra damage versus armored. Look at this. Look at how much damage it does. It's like 16 damage per hit. That adds up a lot. Can the Overlord get out? Oh my gosh, Overlord. No, not enough. And the Stalker gets him. That's what happens. When you make a Stalker first, when you've normally gone Adept first, it can really throw your opponent off. That's hilarious. That is absolutely fantastically hilarious. Third base from Reynor. Coming up here, normal timing, sub 3 minutes. Probably started about 2:30, 2:40 if I had to guess. Maybe even earlier than that, to be honest. Look at that. That's halfway done at 3:12. Anyway, queen count is fine. He didn't skip any queens. At the very least. Gateway is here. Robotics facility. Okay, so a more traditional Adept Pritcher Go Burr play here from Trap. He gets the robotics facility earlier than he did the first game he tried it. Didn't get as much damage with it as he wanted. I think this is more traditional play. And killing that first Overlord was huge, because Reynor's entirely in the dark here. He knows about the Nexus. He doesn't know about the second level of tech. He doesn't know anything that's going on right now, and he's just going to have to play blind. These lings are like, is anything coming out the front door? Nothing yet. Okay, that's good to know. I can drone up a little bit more. He's making some drones, making some lings. Some safety zerglings here because no adepts are moving out, which can be an indication that it's going to be adept printer here too. So these guys are going to head down the southern path, which there is some vision on. Wow, look at these guys. Okay, so they positioned here in case there are some lings ready to kill this third base because Trap is obviously trying to go for a third base. There's no reason to clear this out unless you want to go for a third or just make Reynor think you want to go for a third when you're not going for a third. Oh no, adepts. Oh no, adepts. Reynor. Warp Prism saves one of them. One of the adepts is in here, but she injured. She's in the yellows. Now, the question is always, how many adepts are we making here? And the answer is a lot, because Resonating Glaives is almost done. Lings and Queens can do this. A Roach Warren would be nice, but it's not close to be done. And it seems that Reynor has no interest in making Banelings against this. Or even having roaches ready for this at all. He's never had roaches ready for these adepts when they show up with Resonating Glaives at 5 minutes. He is very much a Ling Queen disciple when it comes to dealing with a particular strategy. And I don't know that it's been all that successful. I mean, he's never died to it, right? None of these games has been adept printer go burr and then Reynor dies. Damage gets done, yes, but the game is solidified in Trap's favor later. Oh, but suddenly, though, this is a lot of damage output. One queen does go down. Adepts finish their transfer, and they're fully surrounded by lings. A couple of queens can hit them, but not all of the queens. There we go. Queens getting into positions. So many dead zerglings there. Is this, in fact, an adept printer victory out of Trap here? My gosh, 46 lings have gone down. They come over to the third base. Are the roaches even enough? One or two roaches is not enough here. Look at how they just two volley down the roaches. Ling's getting wrecked. I think Trap knows that killing... Okay, there's the shade at least. Roaches are here defending. 10 drones have gone down in the first 5 minutes, which again has been the entire norm in this matchup so far in this entire series. I don't know. I think maybe you stay here. And yes, Trap does stay here. Kills a roach. More roaches are popping out right now all the time. Reynor is trying to hold on by producing roaches as well as he can. He's losing a ton of mining time into Reynor. Look at that income disadvantage right now. Spore getting wrecked so the Warp Prism can get on over here and actually help out a little bit. The Warp Prism hasn't died, has it? No, I don't know where it is, though. This is an adept printer build if ever I have seen one. The drones can't get back to work anywhere. The adepts have the natural base and the third base on complete lockdown, which means the income is poor, which means you can't make 12 more roaches. You can make some lings. Trap pulls back a little bit, regroups a little bit. All 1,016 of his adepts are here. There's an immortal in production, which is going to slow walk its way across the map and try to do something against these roaches. That can be really dangerous. One or two immortals in this composition means you could do really well against roaches. Oh my gosh. All right, so... Oh, finish that shade. All right, just look at that. Basically trying to drain the queens of all of their energy. They are transfusing like bosses right now, though. That is really, really good stuff. The shade comes down in the main base. The queens are not that fast. This is so frustrating to deal with. Reynor was a little bit too late with the roaches, which you need to have a huge number of roaches. A larger number of roaches ready to go when the adepts show up. Otherwise, you're making them 2 or 3 at a time. They're getting picked off by the adepts who have enough damage output with the Resonating Glaives to make this thing work even against smaller numbers of roaches. Oh, he cancels the shade. 10 more drones have gone down. 27 drones have been killed. It is 40 to 31 workers right now. Trap is an advantage. That third base is a ghost town. The Immortals in the mix. Remember what I said about 1 or 2 Immortals, and that's your good game. Trap! Okay, it wasn't an Immortal Printer go burr play, but it was an Immortal Printer with 1 Stalker and 2 Immortals. Adept Printer with 2 Immortals and a Stalker go burr, and Trap is your winner. 3 games to 1. What an absolutely ridiculous. Oh, ridiculous. 3-1 victory for Trap in this best of 5. That was bonkers. I did not expect coming into the series that Reynor would get 3-1 like this. I didn't. To be honest, if you clicked on this, I didn't already know, obviously, but I mean, if you never knew what was going to happen here, you'd be surprised by this too. Holy cannoli. That was a thing. That was a beautiful, beautiful game between these two players. Especially from Trap, though. And getting the Immortals in as the finishing blow here, just genius. Absolutely genius. At the end of the game, we're looking at 5 Roaches and 10 Zerglings versus 3 Immortals and 17 Adepts with Resonating Glaives. That is a brutal, brutal finishing move there. Income hugely favoring Trap. And there's a little bit of a time where Reynor gets his economy back, and then it's gone. And that's it, man. Economics are what it is more often than not. Yeah, 30 Adepts died in exchange for 15 Roaches, 30 Drones, 80 Zerglings, 4 Queens, and a couple static defense buildings there. Oh, fantastique. I mean, really, Protoss fans have got to be super happy about that one, right? Somebody as annoying and as terrifying as Reynor is to go down 3-1 against Trap. It's good feels. Really, really good feels for you guys. I hope you appreciate it. Hit that like button if you did. And if you're a Terran player, maybe hit that like button because you like seeing Zerg die. All right. Well, you know what? That is going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void and a Sunday series. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.